is the second time that we have been at the Southwest Snooker Academy for the Parris Q's Champion of Champions. And the tournament sponsor is John Parris, who is obviously very well known for his fantastic cue making abilities. Cue maker to the stars on the professional snooker circuit. We're very thankful for his support, sponsorship and commitment to the event. That was a little bit careless from Nick. He won't be too happy with that effort, but I don't think that's going to cause him too much grief. Well, he did leave a red on. Ronnie got close to it. Unfortunately for him, the cue ball has stayed at this end of the table. There's another opportunity for Nick to score some points here. You may have seen Nick last month at the Crucible Theatre. He qualified for the WDBS, the inaugural WDBS Tour Championship. He was one of 4 invited players to play at the home of snooker in Sheffield. Oh, and that's a terrific shot there from Ronnie. So that's just an example of his long potting prowess as well. And he'll be the same as Nick. He'll want the balls to be open. He'll want to get his cue arm going. Although felt that was the time to play a snooker. Didn't particularly like the angle on the brown, and also all these reds appear to be sort of blocking each other apart from the red closest to the black spot. So perhaps felt there wasn't too much value in trying to force the brown in and bring the cue ball down to this end of the table. Well, Nick's got out of the snooker, but that's not ideal. He's left Ronnie a chance on this red that's free from the other reds. And that's a nice pot on the pink, with the cue ball so near the side cushion. Of course, he wasn't entertaining any sort of positional hopes, but it was a nice pot to get an additional 6 points to his total. I think Ronnie probably realises that if he is going to have a fighting chance in this match, he's got to try and impose himself early on. If he can get the first frame or first couple of frames, it really will give Nick something to think about. So as I mentioned earlier, these two players are very familiar to one another, especially in finals of events here on the WDBS circuit. It's actually the 4th time this calendar year that the two have met in a championship decider. They played in the Southern Classic final earlier on in the year in March at Jester's Snooker Hall in Swindon. And they also clashed at the Welsh Open, so Ronnie's home event, when we played at Reds in Cwmbran. That was a bit of a different event. That wasn't an exclusively Group 7 event. That was our annual 6-red event, which is open to all disability classifications. So that showed that was really good for Group 7 that two of their players reached the final. And they also only met about 3 weeks ago at Barrett's for the UK Disability Snooker Championship. And on all 3 occasions, Nick has taken home the gold medal. But Ronnie has firmly established himself as the number 2 player in this category. And that's a nice pot there from Ronnie. Again, cueing was a little bit hampered. Now then, what sort of an angle does he have on this brown here? Again, he didn't fancy it. And that's probably a mark of respect not only to Nick, but the table as well. Whilst the conditions here at the Academy are fantastic, they really are testing conditions and tight pockets, fast cloths, unforgiving. So probably felt as if it was better to play a safety there instead of go for a risky pot down the cushion. That selection has actually earned Ronnie an opportunity here after that mistake from Nick. It's not the worst return in the world from Nick there, although he has left Ronnie a couple of shots here on the reds next to the black, and they are shots to nothing. Ronnie can bring the cue ball back into bulk. He's got the brown over the pocket. If he does successfully pot this. Not on this occasion though, but you see the cue ball is in a good position. If he had have potted it, the brown was ready and waiting. Well, it's a little bit careless from Nick for that cue ball to be in the pocket. No real damage though, except for the 4 points. Nice shot from Ronnie. Now then, can he get through to that brown over the yellow pocket, or is the green blocking him? I think there is a gap. It'll be a little bit tricky getting on a red in the opposite half of the table though. Got 3 of the reds there on the side cushion. I should imagine he's trying to get towards the red near the black spot. Yeah, I think that was his plan, but he's underhit it. He is slowly getting back into this frame though, after a fast start from Nick. That's a very good length of cue ball from Nick. Might be forced into taking this red on Ronnie. And he was. Now then, is this red going to stop in time? No, it isn't. Not for the middle pocket anyway. But there is half a chance for the yellow pocket, although he is stretching. Yeah, I think stretching over the pink and black there was a bit of an issue for Nick. Didn't really look comfortable. A little bit disappointing there from Ronnie. I'm sure he would have expected to pot that. And that makes it worse when you see your opponent punish you straight away. Wants his cue ball to slow up though. Hasn't for the brown, but Nick is left-handed, so this yellow's not an issue. Now, how's the pace? How's the line and length here? Well, I'm sure he didn't play it on the cushion, but he's got a shot here into the middle. And got it. Now he is obviously going to be coming away from the reds with this black, so does he drop this in pocket weight? Does he play it with a bit more pace? Just drops it in. Very pleased to leave a mid-distance red. It's not an issue for Nick. Well played. Textbook stun run through there. This black will put him 30 points ahead with 35 on. Wow. It would have done, and that's a surprising miss from Nick. With the winning line in sight here in this opening frame. He has been a bit fortunate though. By missing the black, he has blocked the pocket for the red straight afterwards. But he will be annoyed that he missed that opportunity to clear the frame in one. trouble here for Ronnie. Looks as if he's going to come off 2 cushions. I'd expect him to hit this. Yeah, that's a nice connection. Now, if this passes the brown into the middle, I'm sure Nick will take it on. If not, he's got a cast iron snooker. And there's your answer. So this is a lot tougher than the snooker previously that Ronnie was faced with. That's a nice hit though. There was a smaller margin for error coming off just the 1 cushion. Those snookers are a little bit easier to get out of when you're using more than 1 cushion to hit them with. But he has left Nick an opportunity to pot this, although again, just can't sink this final red. Well, that's a nice cut from Nick. Sort of good news, bad news really in that situation. Very close to going in off into the middle pocket. He avoided the in off, although the white hit the far jaw and it's kind of gone into an area where he's not on a colour. And he does need a colour to leave Ronnie requiring snookers. It's a good shot from Nick and acknowledged by Ronnie with a little tap on the table. It was just too far for Nick to cut in. Beautiful shot from Neale, and that puts him 26 ahead with 25 on. Just a quick glance at the scoreboard there. That's a nice follow-up, extends his lead. I should imagine Ronnie will probably carry on. It is only 2 penalty point snookers, 4-point snookers he requires. I would have thought if Nick could have potted the brown, Ronnie might have conceded after Nick's visit was complete. Just avoids the enough. Bit of an anxious moment there for Neale, but that really should be the end of frame. Well, Ronnie's deciding to carry on. It is the opening frame, so perhaps he wants a bit more additional table time. but he's 33 behind with 18 on, so that would be 3 5-point snookers to tie, and even more so now he's gone in off, and in fact he has conceded now. So Neale takes the first frame in this best of 9 encounter at the Parris Q's Champion of Champions 2019. We'll be back with frame 2 shortly. Okay, so welcome back for frame 2 of this final. Group 7 final at the Parris Q's Champion of Champions between defending champion Neale of England and Ronnie Allen of Wales. We've just seen Nick take the opening frame on the colours. This is a best of 9 encounter in the final. They are going to have a short interval, I believe, after 4 frames. Well, that's a mistake from Nick. Good opportunity there to get going in this frame, but he's handed it straight away back to Ronnie. Who in turn I think he just quit on that shot. Not sure if he was a bit anxious about playing it or played it a bit too quickly. So a couple of errors from both players here at the start of frame 2. That's not perfect for Nick. He's left this back a lot trickier than he would have liked. Surely he was trying to avoid the cannon on the red. Now there's a bit of pressure attached to this black here. But that's nicely done. Brought the cue ball up towards the bulk end of the table for this red in the top half. Nicely played. Managed to hold it for the black. We will try and update you with the latest score lines elsewhere in the arena. As we say, we've got 5 other finals going on in this year's Champion of Champions. All of them are at different stages of their finals. Some were playing over multiple sessions. Also, you can head over to our new tournament manager and scoring system, which is called snookerscores.net, where you can see all the latest score lines. Some of the matches also have a live scoring facility as well, so you can actually see the latest ball by ball action. So you can see all the scores, all the matches in play, results from elsewhere this weekend, and the breaks. Another snazzy feature of the new website is you can look at players' records, so you can see how they've been getting on in recent events. Well, that's a little bonus there from Nick. Nick is 47 years old. He lives in Birmingham. He plays the majority of his snooker at home. He actually has a table at home. But he also plays at the Q Bar in Aldridge. That's where he plays his league snooker, I believe. And this is Ronnie Allen. He's 76 years old. As I mentioned, he is chairman of the Welsh Snooker Association. He plays his snooker at Tredegar Conservative Club, and that's in Newport. Now, as that red scuppered his chances of an easy blue into middle pocket, I think it has. Oh, he's come to have another look. Obviously a bit too tight for comfort, so taking on the trickier yellow. And unfortunately it didn't drop, so that red coming over to scupper his chances on the blue did make a big difference there. That's nicely controlled from Nick. Swung it around off 2 cushions widened the angle. Probably knew if he wasn't going to end up on the blue, he would have been on either brown or green. And quite often, this game is about leaving yourself choices where you can. And just evidence of how good Nick Neale is, he has actually had a 147 maximum break in practice. So your average standard club player doesn't do that. So that sort of gives you an example of how good Nick can be. Well, I think he realised as soon as he hit that, he kind of quit on the shot a little bit. But Ronnie just can't get going, can he? Bit of a frustrating start from Ronnie. He has potted some really good balls and played some nice safety too. But he's not really been given an opportunity to get his arm going in the balls. He did actually in the very start of this frame. He missed an easy red with the black waiting straight afterwards. Not too sure if Nick played for this red in the corner pocket, but he's more than happy to take it on. But again, a bit of a lapse in concentration there. You would never expect Nick to miss a ball like that. So then, this is a bit of a smelly black. It's also hampered slightly with the red. That's a nice pot, especially on tables like these here at the Academy. As most of you are probably aware, in the snooker community, unfortunately, the Academy will be closing very shortly. And of course, that's a big shame to the snooker community. But I guess things change. We're very thankful and grateful for all the support that the venue has provided the WDBS. The very first event that WDBS held was here back in 2015. Back then it was the Open Disability Championship, not the Champion of Champions. So this will be the very last time that a major event will be here in any capacity. In the meantime, Nick's doing a good job here of mopping up, and it looks as if he's well on the way to taking the second frame as well. He's now 36 ahead with just 43 on, so this red and Ron Allen will be needing snookers, and there it goes. But after the last frame, Nick will be very keen to pot this black and dispose of this red. Try and stop Ronnie come back to the table. Well, a little bit disappointing there for Nick. But he's probably done enough here to win the frame. He's 44 up, 35 on. That's 3 4-point snookers Ronnie would need. But none of that's going to matter now. Well, Ronnie thought he'd just come back to the table, just have a little knock. He's missed the green and now he's conceded. So Neale takes frame 2. He moves 2-0 up in this race to 5. So we're back for frame 3 here. And Ronnie's got an early opportunity to score a few points. Well, won't be too happy with that miss on the yellow. Just trying to get a few things going here. Ronnie, he's doesn't want this final to run away from him. If he's going to keep this close and competitive, he probably needs to take this frame. Nice pot there from Nick. Managed to thread the cue ball through for the pink afterwards. I think the cue ball's just held up in time. See our referee with us today, Peter Ogburn. And we're very thankful for all the work that our referees and officials have put in this weekend and throughout the last few seasons on the WDBS circuit. We've had referees from England and Wales with us here this weekend. In the meantime, that's a cause of frustration for Nick. Just undercutting that red. Now then, can Ronnie plant this red onto the other one? He can. And he's in ideal shape for the blue. We'll just bring you up to date with some scores on the tables elsewhere in the arena. So over on table number 2, we've got our wheelchair final, groups 1-2 final between Shahab Sadiq and Aslam Abu Baker. They've actually been playing over 3 sessions over the last 2 days in a 1st-to-9 clash. And Aslam's currently leads 8 frames to 3, so he needs one more for victory. Over on table number 3, we've got the final of Group 6A, so one of our intellectual impairments groups. And it's a very familiar final between Faisal Butt and Michael Bust. We actually saw them on the live stream yesterday morning in the round robin fixture. And after the opening 2 frames, they are 1 frame all. Table number 4 is our Groups 4-5 final between England's Mickey Chambers and Scotland's William Thompson. Mickey's taken the first frame, although William is just shading it in the second. And over on table number 6, in our group for deaf players, Shabir Ahmed is 5 frames to 2 up on Lewis Knowles, who is the defending champion in that particular competition. Now then, Ronnie waits to see where this red's going to end up, and he's not going to like the outcome. A bit of a smile there. He won't be smiling inside with that though. A little sarcastic tap on the table there from Nick for himself. He's overdone that for the green. So this is a lot trickier than what it should have been. Just got a little bit scrappy this frame from both players, and particularly Nick. He was trying to put quite a bit of action on that green, to be honest. Trying to get the cue ball in amongst the reds. They all seem to be blocking each other. So he was hoping to develop something, but took his eye off the green. Beautiful shot from Nick. I think the keeper might have just run on a little bit too far. Ronnie can snick this red furthest to the left. That's a pretty good reply from Ronnie. Managed to get the cue ball just into bulk. Okay then, so this is an ideal opportunity for Ronnie. Trails by 5. He's got a couple of reds he could start with here. The blue takes him into the lead. Unfortunately, it wasn't a particularly good angle on the blue, so he's just potted it, made sure of the 5 points. You can see there at the bottom of the screen, one of the features with that new scoreboard is you can see the players' average shot times. Nick is around the 18-second mark, and Ronnie's no slouch either. He's averaging 21 seconds. So both playing the game at a fairly brisk pace. I'm not sure he could have envisaged that red planting over towards the pocket. It looks as if Nick is having to jack the cue up a little bit to swerve around this, and actually in doing so he's potted it and followed the cue ball through afterwards, which you sometimes see with those shots. If you hit them full ball, the cue ball will follow the object ball in straight afterwards. So it wasn't costly for Ronnie. In fact, foul 4 has extended his advantage slightly. So this is a bit of a smelly situation for Ronnie. He's going to have to use his experience here to work out how he's going to get out of this one. And with all the reds in the open, even if he does manage to hit one of the reds, he's got to try and get it safe as well. So he's just hoping to drop on this red. It's a little bit unfortunate. I'm not sure whether he would have left anything on had he hit it full ball, but certainly didn't want to hit it thin. Again, lovely shot there from Nick. He had a very similar shot to that in the opening frame. His mid-distance potting has been pretty good so far. It's another good shot. Managed to get the cue ball on and off the cushion. I think there's easy access for the red next to the pink. I think it's available into either the middle or corner pockets. Wow. Perhaps it wasn't, because as you see, Nick played to bring the red out. But in doing so, perhaps he took a little bit of effort away and actually pot in the black, sorry. Now, can Ronnie cut this red in? Not on this occasion. Well, that was a little friendly bump off the middle pocket. Good hit from Ronnie. Very nearly fluked the snooker back. But I think Nick can get to the pot in angle, so this is half a chance. Now then, he's 17 points up. If he does pot the yellow, that'll be 19. He will still need the green. So still a chance here for Ronnie in this frame. Nick's going to have to play a good shot here to either drop on the green or develop it. He might just pot the yellow and then play a good safety on the green. Not sure what's happening here. I think there might be an issue with the scoreboard perhaps. The players have stopped. I think they're just querying the scores here. I'm not sure if Nick thought he'd already got to the stage where Ronnie required snookers. But the scores we've got at the minute are actually coming through from what the referees input into the scoreboard in the arena. I believe there's another 2 points to be added to Nick's total because he potted red, yellow, then yellow again. It says that he's on a break of 3, so he should be 21 points up with 25 on. So they might be putting the scores up manually here. There might be an issue with the electronic scoreboard. Anyway, in the meantime, Ronnie Allen's got a chance to counter-attack here. Where's this cue ball going? Wow, that's disastrous really for Ronnie. He has hit it, so he keeps his hopes alive, although this is travelling very close towards the corner pocket. Wow. Undercooked from Nick. So yeah, almost certainly there's an issue with the electronic scoring. But by my calculations, Nick, I think, is 14 points in front because he was 21 points up before the green. And he's just missed it. And what's even worse, he's gone in off, so that's really is a double whammy there for Ronnie Allen. Yeah, I can see the referee there using the manual scoreboard on the wall. I believe Nick is now 19 in front, but that's all going to be pretty academic if he sinks this blue. So I believe that puts him 24 points up. So he just pots this pink, which he has, and that's frame 3 to Nick Neale in this race to 5. And he's 2 more frames away from defending the title here at the South West Snooker Academy in Gloucester. We'll be back shortly for frame 4. So welcome back to frame 4 here. And just to confirm, there was a slight error with the scores in the last frame, but thankfully we're back to having them live from the arena. Nick is just 2 more frames away from retaining the title and actually being the first person, I believe, to win here this weekend, although we are close to potentially a conclusion in the wheelchair final. Ronnie surely has to win this frame here if he has any hopes of taking the title. Being 4-0 down to Nick Neale and a race to 5. Being 4-0 down and having to win 5 frames in a row is very, very unlikely. Especially when you consider the form Nick has been in over the past 12 to 18 months. So it appears as if Ronnie can get through to this red. So how much damage can he do? Well, it's been a struggle, hasn't it? He's just been unable to get going. Although it's been a stop and go start for Nick as well. He's not really found much of a rhythm so far. Just wiggled its way in. Not a great position on the black here though. Yeah, just elected to drop the black in, take the additional 7 points. Nice recovery there from Nick. Well, it wasn't really a recovery, just didn't end up perfect on a colour. But nicely back into ideal position here. And again, another one of those mid-distance shots with the stun run through. He's not in the A1 position here though. The pink doesn't look available until on the corner pockets. So again, Nick just taking an additional point and playing safe. Another interesting note to mention about this weekend. In fact, Ronnie Allen played at the inaugural World Snooker Federation Championships back in 2018 at Malta. And it's just been announced over the weekend that the 2020 World Snooker Federation Championships will also be taking place again in Malta at the Maltese Snooker Academy. And all the players who won their group events last year at the Parris Champions have won all paid slots into the event, so they'll have their journey and expenses paid for. That was one of the prizes on offer in last year's event. The WSF Championship was scheduled to take place elsewhere, but it has since moved to Malta. So that includes players like Neale, who won last year's event. And the WSF Championships are open to players from all age groups. But there is also a professional tour card on offer for the winner. So that is going to be one of the biggest events on the circuit coming up in January. I believe it's between the 4th to the 16th. It's just a small consultation going on between the players and the referee regarding where the cue ball was for this snooker. Now, quite clearly, Ronnie can hit the reds at the bottom end of the table, but that is obviously fraught with danger, especially with Neale about. So elected to take a more trickier escape route, although it hasn't worked out. Another nice pot there from Nick. And he has shown really good patience in this frame. He has realised that some of the pots he's produced, well, that's an amazing pot. Some of the pots he's strung together, he knows there's not necessarily going to be many points afterwards, but he's just focused on getting the win here. And then again, another example of just applying the brakes, applying the pressure on his opponent. There's no need to push the boat out. He's 3-0 up, well in control. Doesn't need to do anything too adventurous or erratic. That's a really good response from Ronnie, though. He could only hit a very small portion of that red. He's played it really, really well. He would have been a bit nervous seeing a red go towards the corner pocket, but he has covered it with the brown ball. This is causing a small problem here for Nick. It looks as if he's going to have to play the red furthest to the right and try and get the cue ball back into a similar position that it is now. There's certainly nothing aggressive he can play for here. That's a good shot. Just a nice containing safety, making sure that Ronnie doesn't have access to this red over the corner pocket. It doesn't cut in from there. But again, that's a really nice return from Ronnie, putting the cue ball pretty much where it was before, although this time it's the green that's causing the barrier to the red. Now then, what are Ronnie's options here? That's a nice shot. Perhaps the red over the pocket might have made it slightly bigger, but he didn't even need to use that red. It went in clean, and he's in pretty good shape here on the blue. That's safely navigated. That's a nice shot as well. Nicely controlled. And again there from Ronnie Allen, just trying to get a rhythm going here. He has potted some really good balls in this match and produced some really nice safety play. And he really battled back well in this competition after losing to Neale yesterday morning. He then defeated Mike Gillespie from Hull and Gary Gallagher of Scotland, although Gary now lives in Wales. So he's done well to come back after initial defeat to reach the final. And he's come too far just to give this final up. He's going to put all his effort into this. But it is certainly a mountain to climb now, you'd feel. Must win this frame. It's another good long distance red from Ronnie. In the meantime, while he sort of decides what colour he's going to play for next, we'll just give you a couple of quick updates on matches elsewhere. In the Group 6A final between Faisal Butt and Michael Bust, Faisal is 2-1 up in a race to 4. And over on table number 4, Mickey Chambers is 2-1 up on Scotland's William Thompson in the Group's 4-5 final for players with ambulant issues. And on table number 6 in our Group 8 final, so players who are deaf, Shabir Ahmed is 6-2 up on defending champion Lewis Knowles in a race to 8. So Shabir is also edging his way towards the title. In the meantime, Ronnie really is looking a lot more comfortable this frame. Currently on a break of 13 here. He is getting back into this. If he can take this frame before the mid-session interval, not only will it make him feel better, it will also give Nick something to think about. That's just a little bit, he's struck that too well, if anything. So it's just time to play safe. And he's played that really well. So he's reduced his arrears to just 14 points. And he's got Nick in a snooker as well. So this frame is very much in the balance. Well, that would have been a certain snooker for Nick if the red hadn't have collided into the pink ball. Ronnie still might not be able to hit the whole of this red, but it's certainly better than what it would have been. There has been some really nice exchanges of safety in this match. Also, it hasn't been the most free-flowing. There's been some really good safety play and snookers set up. Now then, is this cue ball going to carry on running? I think it is. Now, where's this red going? Wow. Very, very close to a massive fluke. Surely that might have been the frame for Nick there. So what can Ronnie Allen do here? Well, I think Ronnie realised there was pressure attached to that. If he could have got on ideal position with the yellow, there was an opportunity to counter-attack in this frame. So Nick is 15 points up, so he needs green and brown to leave Ronnie needing a snooker. Wow. The green hasn't dropped. Although, the good news for Nick is he's covered it with the brown. So Ronnie's going to have to come up with something here. Well, he's missed it. It was a very small target, especially off one cushion. And those additional 4 points have made a difference. Because now it's 19 difference. Nick duly pots the green. So there's 22 in it, with 22 on. Great shot from Ronnie. Now is this going to carry on? Oh, it's just landed in a really awkward place. He's going to take it onto the green pocket. Good shot. Now then, the black is hanging over the middle pocket, but this is a really, really tough pink. Wow, he got very close to it. Again, the good news is he's got away with it. So just a safety for Nick. Now then, Ronnie is going to have to use the rest. But he's not going to get too many better chances than this to force a respot. It's there. And the black is hanging over the pocket. So it looks as if we're going to go to a respotted black here in frame 4. And we are. So Ronnie managed to deposit the last 4 colours. And it looked as if Nick was going to go 1 frame away. He still might. But Ronnie's given himself a fighting chance here in the 4th frame. And as always with the respotted black situation, you want to win the toss and put your opponent in. It looks as if Ronnie's called right. And predictably, he's put Nick into bat. Now, how does he play this? There's a couple of ways you can play this shot. He's actually played it in the more old-fashioned way, up and down the spots. You tend to see players playing it from side to side nowadays. But obviously that leaves the risk of a double. But Nick has underhit this, and he's left Ronnie a chance of a long pot. Oh, he's got very close to that. And that's really unfortunate. Really hit that. Wow, did Ronnie, but just not good enough on these tight tables, and he's left Nick an easy opportunity here. Nick pots the black. Nick pots the black, and it's the end of the 4th frame. I think they've had a handshake because they're going off the interval. Just a little bit of confusion there from our side. Yep, they're just going out for their mid-session interval, so they'll be gone for around sort of 10-15 minutes. But after a small scare, Nick pots the respotted black. He moves 4-0 up, and he's just 1 frame away from defending his title here at the Parris Q's Champion of Champions. So hello and welcome back to the second session of this final here, Group 7 event for players with visual impairments at the 2019 Parris Q's Champion of Champions. If you were with us just before the interval, you would have seen Neale sink the respotted black to take a 4-0 lead. It's a bit of an entertaining finish to the mini session. Ronnie Allen managed to force a respot by potting the last 4 remaining colours. He had a really good effort with a long pot attempt on the black. It was unfortunate to see it wobble in the jaws and come across and land over the opposite corner pocket. Neale duly potted it, and now he's 4-0 up and he's just 1 frame away from retaining his title here at the South West Snooker Academy here in Gloucester. I guess Ronnie's primary objective is trying to get a frame on the board here. Wants to make the scoreline respectable. I'm not really sure if he has any ambitions of actually winning this match from 4-0 down, especially against a player of Neale's calibre and form. But there'll be no quitting Ronnie. He came back really well this tournament. He lost his opening game, won his next 2 to qualify for the final. So he's certainly not going to throw the towel in, that's for sure. I'm also watching the stream of this Group 7 final. I'm delighted to be joined in the commentary box by Aslam Abu Baker, who's just won the Groups 1-2 wheelchair event here at the Parris Q's Champion of Champions. Aslam, you beat Shahab Siddiqui 9-4, I believe. It was a slightly different final compared to the other events. You played a 3-session final because of the dropouts earlier on in the week, but you must be delighted for winning the title.
Yeah, I'm really happy because we both struggle a bit because of the tables, pro tables they are, and when you're practicing on the club tables and all that and getting used to it. But it's been a really good weekend, really good, enjoyed it. We both struggle a bit getting used to tables. So yeah, I'm really pleased. Played well this weekend.
Brilliant, and like you say, this is a very different atmosphere to what we have elsewhere on the WDBS circuit. Obviously, you have to earn your right to actually be here. And you mentioned about the tables professional, obviously cut pockets and cloths. That must have been tricky to adapt to.
Oh yeah, definitely. When I practice in at Club 147 in Leicester, I have my own table. I don't think pockets are tight like this one here, but no, it's been really, it's been really good, and not want to complain about the tables or anything like that. But we had a few 20s breaks, and I had the 28 highest break I had, so it's getting just in the speed and all that. So yeah, when you play in other tournaments like last year's or this year's, where we're going to the clubs and all that, and pockets are a bit bigger, but then you get bigger breaks and all that. But it's been I enjoyed that table. First time I played on pro tables about 30 years ago. But no, it's been good.
And you must be pretty delighted with your form over the last sort of like 18 months. I know you won your first title on the WDBS circuit last September at Barrett's. So have you changed anything? Have you sort of, I know obviously you play other Q sports as well. Have you sort of put additional hours into your snooker practice? Now we've got the WDBS circuit and there are events for wheelchair players.
Yeah, when I came to first event in Wolverhampton, I think it was about 2 years ago. And then when I saw the program for following year, I said to myself, right, we need to get I was playing with the English queue, but then I went and bought a nice snooker queue. Club 147 sponsored me for that, so I'm putting hours a lot. I've been playing like 2-3 days a week, because mainly I'm playing a lot of English 8 ball as well, and putting a lot of hours for that for the World 8 Ball Championship in Blackpool. But now when been selected for the Champions of Champions, I did 3-2 days a week getting ready for that. So it's a shame we lost 2 good players, didn't turn up this weekend, but it would have been a really good tough for 4 of us who would win it. But Xavi is a really good player. You have to make sure you're doing your safety, so you're playing buildings and all that. But overall, I was quite happy with this.
And sort of how good is it sort of over the last couple of years? The WDBS circuit has obviously expanded, and obviously there are opportunities to play at venues like this. Obviously, a couple of the players as well qualify for the Crucible Theatre. What would you say to anybody who might be watching today or watching us on the stream back on the archive and they think, I might qualify for one of those events? What would you say to people if they're a little bit nervous sort of coming to a WDBS event?
When I came back playing snooker again, I wasn't any nervous or anything. It's just practicing, go to the clubs, join. The main one is access, where you need really good access at the clubs, and people think wheelchair players mainly can't get in or anything, but join the clubs, get the coaching, and start playing, and then join this marvelous work you guys doing, and it keeps us coming down every year and everything, and traveling and all that. But I think things to do is to find a good club in UK where you got wheelchair access or any disability wants to go and play. And myself, I'm lucky I got one good club in 147 in Leicester where they got nice tables, English tables, and they look after me like one of the world champion and all that. But it's been good. You need to ring around people and find a few information and all that. So yeah.
Well, thank you for your time coming to see us today, and congratulations on winning the Champion of Champions. You're a very deserved winner, and safe journey home, Aslam.
Yeah, thank you.
So a big thank you there to Aslam, who is the first champion here this weekend at the Parris Q's Champion of Champions. He won the Groups 1 and 2 wheelchair group, where he beat Shahab Siddiqui 9 frames to 4 in the final. And whilst I was talking to Aslam, as we can see on the stream here, Nick is slowly getting towards the winning line. I think possibly the previous frame might have taken the stuffing out of Ronnie. And, you know, on the balance of play, when you look at the opening 4 frames, it could have conceivably been 2 frames all between the pair. So, just shows that the fine margins and fractions in our great sport can make such a big difference. As I say, if this is to be the end of the match, there are other games going on elsewhere in the arena. If you want to see the latest scores, and on some of the tables we actually have live ball-by-ball scoring, you can head over to our new results system, which is snookerscores.net, where you can see all the latest action going on elsewhere. And you can also see how the players have been getting on this weekend and any breaks that they've made. Well, he saw the gold medal there. He's missed the pink. Obviously very frustrated there. Ronnie's hanging on here. 52 points down, 59 remaining. But when you look at where the black is and the 3 remaining reds, this is a really tall order. I'm not sure what Ronnie's asked for here. He's asked for the pink to be cleaned. I think there was a bit of a communication breakdown between him and the referee. I think the referee thought he wanted him to brush the table or something. So it's just the finger marks around the pink. So I guess that's an indicator that Ronnie's going to take this pink on. And in reality, he has to pot this pink, you'd feel. If he missed it, he'd be 51 points down with 51 left. But where you look at the position of the black, it's pretty grim reading for Ronnie, and the pink hasn't dropped. Not sure Nick particularly wants to move these reds or black. Yeah, he's managed to keep them all down in this area of the table. He's got a good cue ball, although it's just poked its nose out. Wow, this could be the end now. Ronnie was trying to get the black out there, I think. It's this red to perhaps seal it, and it looks as if congratulations have to go to Neale, who continues his amazing form here on the WDBS circuit. This would now be 8 consecutive Group 7 events that he's won. He's undefeated in this category of events on the WDBS circuit for a very long time. He's a deserved winner. Commiserations to Ronnie Allen. As I said, he's done fantastic this weekend to bounce back after initial loss to Nick in the round robin stage. And he'll be back. Blue's not there. Ronnie's going to continue. But he's 58 points down with only 35 remaining, so I think in reality Ronnie's probably just going to get a little bit of table time here. And that's surely it. And there we go. There's the handshake. So Nick Neale records a 5-0 win over Ronnie Allen. And he defends his Group 7 title here at the Parris Q's Champion of Champions. He gives a bit of a wave there to his supporters, as does Ronnie. So we'd like to say thank you to everybody who's tuned in this weekend to watch us. We really appreciate it. As I say, if you want to find more information about the WDBS, either head over to our Facebook or Twitter channels on social media, or you could head over to the website, which is www.wdbs.info. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.